What is going on? Justin here with Bonafide Fishing, and today I've got the XTR130 and a brand new product. No, it's not from Bonafide, but this could be the greatest technological advancement to kayak fishing over the past 10 years. And I can say that having kayak fished for the past 15 years, and I've also been an industry professional in this space for the past 10 years, and to have a company like this produce a product for our small little bitty industry means that we're being seen. I have been privy to this information for a little while, and my initial thought was bow trolling motor. Garmin makes bow trolling motors for bass boats, but I couldn't be more wrong. They did a complete 180 on me, and they introduced the Garmin Force Current trolling motor for the stern of a kayak. And I know what you're thinking, Justin, why is this revolutionary? There are already stern motor options on the market, so what makes this different? Garmin has taken their same trolling motor force technology and they have offered a wireless option for the stern. So you can control it via remote, foot pedal, or if you want to get fancy with it, maybe even your Garmin watch. And what better kayak to pair this with than the XTR130 to introduce this motor to the world. So thank you, Garmin, for thinking of us and partnering with us. So let's go ahead and dive into this install. Some of the hardware is being tweaked just a little bit because the XTR130 is going to be a little bit different when it comes to the install using this 4-bolt pattern that's in the back. So if you look at our mold here, we've included this rudder guide. So it kind of gets away in a little bit. So we need to elevate our plate from Garmin. Now this is going to be an accessory piece that they will sell. So like I said, using the 4-bolt molded in pattern, and we'll start off with the mounting plate here. So this hardware right now is not included in this kit. I just went ahead and pulled these from the store. These are 1/4-20s. They've got a little Loctite on the back and they should work just fine. So our plate's down. It's gonna help too by raising up their quick release bracket so we can utilize that lift line. That'll also help there. Let's go ahead and install this. This is probably the easiest part of our install. I gotta say, for a company that has not yet dived into the kayak space, the research and development is astounding. The amount of effort and forethought that went into this product is crazy. There we go. That plate's also gonna add some extra rigidity back here as well. Now, we're gonna have to come back and take this off, but just to get this out of the way for the moment, I'm gonna show you how this clips in really smoothly. This is probably the best attachment point that I've seen on a motor. Makes it super easy to lock in and take off. That just slides in there, just like that. It rests on top of this half moon, and then all you have to do is lock that down, twist the knobs, and you're in place. That's crazy. Included in your box, I'm gonna grab 3 different things. Now, you will have to make a decision here. Do you want the high efficiency prop, or do you want the weedless propeller? Those are gonna be 2 very different props. I'm gonna grab both of these so we can take a look, but you have kind of a generic hardware kit. You'll see a remote in here. You'll see some mounting cleats in here. You'll also see your skeg that goes on the bottom of your trolling motor, but I'm gonna grab the kind of locking pin for our motor. We're gonna install that, and we'll also find out what prop we need. Whenever you lift your motor up, it's gonna give you 3 different trim options. So you can kind of mess around with this, see which one you like. I'm gonna try to get my motor straight up and down, so this seems to be the best option for me. So that pin's gonna slide in, and then you also have a safety pin on the back. This might be the hardest part of the install. Got it. So now when our motor rests down, it locks into place. That shaft is straight up and down. Now let's take a look at our props and see which one we want. This is the high efficiency prop. It's got some serrated edges on the blade. And this one is the weedless propeller. I wonder if they got these 2 mixed up. Oh no, this says weedless on it. This says high efficiency on it. So if you get confused, there you go. Serrated edges. This one's got a bend in the prop. You know, physics. It's, you know what I mean? Like, you can just tell that this just pushes water, right? You can tell I don't work for Garmin, okay? I just rode them old kayaks. All right, let's be clear. I'm not an engineer. We're gonna go with the high efficiency prop because I wanna see how fast this bad boy can go. Let's take a look at our hardware here. You've got the pin that actually turns the prop. You've got a washer, lock washer, and a nut. And this is also very important because I think this is what allows the motor to go in salt, this little piece right here. So in order, pin, this piece, washer, lock washer, nut. And I'm totally guessing, but it's kind of like math, the order of operations, right? This pin is going to slide in. This is what's going to capture the prop. So it's going to sit nice in this little recess area here. Slide that on. And it should have a little click at the end. Next we have this guy. It's going to slide on, and then our washer, lock washer, and then our nut. And I guarantee you this prop ain't going nowhere. I've had issues with the past with motors. I've had props fall off. This prop is not going to fall off. You definitely don't want to over tighten. There you have it. Per Garmin's instructions, because I want to get this right, you have to tighten the nut to 16.27 newtons per meter. It's kind of like math. 16.27 Nm, or translate that to 12 pounds per foot. Before installing any of this, I highly suggest looking at the Garmin instructions to make sure you are doing everything just right. Let's be clear, I'm not an engineer. 16.7 Nm, just FYI. Before we move back to the cockpit of the boat, I want to show you a key feature here. You've got adjustments on the fly, so you can change the draft or the shaft length of this motor just by rotating this collar, and you can make those minor adjustments. Because let me be clear on this, this does have spot lock, so this shaft will rotate 360 degrees. So you want to make sure you've got plenty of clearance up underneath your boat. That is made super easy via this locking collar. Now let's get into how to control this motor. And one thing that I mentioned before is that this thing is wireless. The foot braces are wireless, so there's no drilling into your kayak. I know that's a very important thing for most people that are doing these installs. They don't want to put holes in their kayak, so Garmin solved this problem by developing wireless foot braces. Now there are going to be two different options of kits that you can choose from. You can either choose the kit that just comes with a remote, or you can choose the kit that comes with both the remote and the 2-foot pedals. Each box is identified. You've got a left foot control here, and then you've also got almost a universal foot brace that is also included. And then you've got your right foot brace as well. What's really cool is that the XTR130 was kind of a part of some of the initial design processes by Garmin, so you can kind of see some similarities between their foot braces that they developed and the foot braces that are already on our kayaks. So this is their universal bracket. We're not going to need that. But what this does is allows you to side mount to any tracks that you might want. So even if you do have the XTR130, you can mount these on the track. You can set your seat a little bit further back in the kayak, and then you have all of this room up here to work with. First thing that you need to do is remove the included foot braces. And this is the first time that I'll be doing this. So we're watching this live right now for the very first time. I'm assuming those come out. They have some molded in inserts in this piece. Now you can set this aside. We don't have to use this. And all this is going to do is simply replace our current foot brace system, just like that. Pretty dadgum cool. They even developed this new locking mechanism that you can slide down the track and adjust depending on your height. Let's take off this other side as well. Now let's go through how you properly orient your foot braces. Looking at this locking mechanism here, you want to make sure that the button that engages the track, that is facing towards the paddler, because you'll need some clearance for this foot pedal. And there's no motion going from side to side. It's almost like a zero turn motor, and that pedal is going to simply rotate forward and rotate back. And I'm just gonna use our 4 1/4-20s that were included with our standard foot braces. I got a green drill so I could see it, and I'm sitting up here and I can't even see it.
Bruh.
That's pretty daggum sweet, I'm not gonna lie. That is so cool. Now let's install the other side as well. Let's take a look at some of the adjustments that you can make. Just using that button there, it disengages the locking mechanism and it locks right back in place. Pretty cool. I'm gonna put it on the midway point just for now until we figure out what we're doing. Now here's the first wireless pedal. You've got a twist knob on the side, and this little lever is always gonna be on the inside part of your foot. So that's gonna go just like this, and they've also included some white tick marks on this kind of serrated teethed edge, so you can determine exactly where you are on each foot brace. So I'm just gonna start off by putting it, I don't know, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clicks down, and then that should tighten up just like this. All that pedal is doing is rotating forward, and then it's got a few clicks back for reverse. So we might have to adjust this so our heel isn't hitting the deck of the kayak. But once we get on the water later today, we'll find out the perfect spot. Same thing on the other side. While I'm here at the pedals, I'm gonna go over some key features. The first being, as I mentioned before, it's gonna act just like a 0 turn. So both pedals forward, your kayak's gonna go straight forward. Both pedals back, that is reverse. Now, if you want to flip this using the remote, you can go into settings, you can change it to act just like a traditional cable steering kayak, which is cool. If you look at both of the pedals, they also have levers on the inside that can be activated using the inside part of your foot. One lever is going to activate the heading hold, so it's going to continue in a straight path. The other is going to activate the GPS anchor. And these should pair up immediately as soon as you turn on your motor, which I kind of played around with it yesterday, but there is a method if your foot braces do become disconnected. You can connect those back pretty easily, but they're automatic as soon as you turn it on. Another thing that I really love about this motor is there's no reverse lock. The only line that you're going to have on your kayak is to deploy and retract the motor itself. So you've got some included cable here, and if you look on the inside of this bracket, there's a locking plate, and on the very end of that locking plate there's a hole. So I'm going to thread my rope through that hole, and then once it comes out the other side, pull it through and then tie maybe just an overhand knot. I'm just going to double it up. This should be just fine. Cinch it down, and now you can pull that through. So your locking mechanism is now installed. The leverage that you're going to have on this motor is incredible, and it all starts right here on the motor itself. So I'm going to thread this. This is not a moving pulley, but it's going to act in a similar way. And the reason why they did this, so if you ever want to quick disconnect your motor, you can take the line off just like that. So that's going to thread over the top. And then you have this rotating pulley. This is going to rotate, it's probably around 45 degrees. So whatever side that you want to put this on, if you want to put it on the left side of the kayak, that's going to turn. If you want to put it on the right side of the kayak, that'll also turn. And this is free moving, by the way, so you can make any minor adjustments that you might need. So if you want to put an additional line guide on your track, that's going to throw that line directly to that opposite side. It's going to be really nice. It's going to be really, really nice. Sweet, and that pin is going to automatically lock back into place as soon as you release the pressure on this line. Garmin has also included a ton of different options the way that you can install these cleats. You can either drill into your kayak if you don't have a location that is readily available, but fortunately for us, and just for ease of access on this kayak, I'm going to utilize our built-in track system. You also have some slider slugs and screws that are included in this. And like I mentioned before, Garmin has built in 2 different pulleys. So you've got one back there on the motor, and then you've also got another one here on their locking cleat. So this is going to thread through, and then you're going to use the leverage of the pulley to pull the motor back towards you. And if you've done a traditional kind of stern motorization installation over the past, say, 5 years, you know exactly what the eyelets are that come from Yak Attack, but Garmin has went ahead and they've made their own line guides that install directly onto the track. For now, I'm gonna place one right here, and this is gonna direct our line towards the track that we wanna make our install on. Garmin does include some slider slugs. They're a little bit too small for this top track, so I went back into our facility and I grabbed one of our slider slugs. We'll see how that holds, but I'm gonna use the included 1/4-20. I don't know if this is gonna work, y'all. It's actually not bad. Feed our line through. Now we're going mobile. I'm gonna take the included slider slug from Garmin, and that included 1/4-20. I'm gonna slide it down onto our track right here, and this is gonna direct our line going up towards our cleat. I'm gonna leave this install of the lift line up to interpretation because this is the first time that we've done this in-house. And honestly, I'm just trying to get out on the water today, and this will be fine for now. You can tell I don't work for Garmin, okay? I just rode them old kayaks. Next thing I'm gonna do is cut off the side grip handle that's on the left-hand side over here, and I'm gonna install our second pulley right in that exact location. Gotta go mobile for this one. For those of you with weak stomachs, go ahead and turn away. Don't watch this. I went ahead and installed the 1/4-20s and the included sliders on our locking cleat. Now the cleat itself, after messing around with it for a little bit, the cleat itself actually faces towards the paddler. So the pulley system facing up towards the bow, you're pulling back towards you, and then you can lock down. Slide on just like that. Let's lock her down. The rope passes up underneath the locking cleat, up under the pulley, and now we've got it right. Now we got it. At the very end of the rope, you've got a lovely Garmin pull handle. It comes in 2 pieces. So this piece here is gonna thread through first, just like that. And then you've got a cap that goes on top that's gonna help conceal the knot that you create. Once that slides on, pull through your slack. And when the motor is fully deployed, I don't like having a lot of slack on my handle because you have all the necessary rope that you need. So I'm gonna come all the way back through here, and I'm gonna end up having a little bit of slack, but go ahead and tie that knot off. Ooh, we did pretty good on that. That's absolutely perfect. These 2 halves are gonna sandwich together, but before you do that, let's cut off our tag end and then conceal our handle. But as you can see, I don't have any slack down here. So this is not gonna move a whole lot when I'm out on the water or traveling. Perfect. Now we can just press these 2 together like that. Sweet. Let's check out the action, shall we? Dude, that is money. Look at that. Our lovely locking mechanism is working. So while we've got the motor in this position, let's install the skeg. And everything comes in this nice little package. You've got a hex key, Allen wrench, whatever you want to call it. And there's only one molded in screw. And this is going to slide over just like that. Easy enough. All right, that's cool. 1 screw, 1 washer, and there's a little Loctite on the end of that, which is nice. Thread that in and tighten it down. I'm glad that we're making replaceable skegs because we know how hard kayakers are on their gear. I think the last piece of this puzzle is power, and what's great about this motor, it'll operate off of a 12 volt or 24 volt. So I've got plenty of the Dakota Lithium 12 volt 100s here in-house, so I'm just gonna use this for now. Garmin has also come up with a pretty robust power cable. This is the only cable that you're gonna see in this entire kit, which is pretty impressive. Look how thick that thing is. And check out that plug. It's got a locking mechanism on the very end of it. Super cool. On the right-hand side of the motor, you've got the plug itself, and that is removed by a twist lock cap. And then there's a line guide for your plug as well. This is the perfect length for the XTR. And this pops in place just like that. And then take your twist lock, twist it forward. Now it's locked. Now let's take a look at the top of the motor. You've got 5 indicator lights. You have your status light, which is at green right now. That means that there are no errors with the motor. Then you have the GPS light. It is sitting on red. Obviously, we're inside. We don't have GPS. And then you have a battery level indicator, which is on yellow, meaning the battery level is medium. You have your prop light, which will tell you if your autopilot is on. And then you have the MOB light, which is an insanely cool feature, and that's what we're gonna talk about next. The MOB tag is an included accessory that operates like a kill switch. Isn't that cool? Oh my gosh, it comes with a watch band. What? Do you wear it on your wrist? No freaking way, dude. You have 2 options to wear this. You can either use the included watch band, which is unbelievable, or probably what I'm gonna do is attach it to this carabiner and just hook it on to my life jacket. I turned the remote on and I got it synced up, so it is gonna ask you if you do not have the MOB turned on. If you want to continue, you will have to override if you don't have the MOB, but I highly suggest not going out on the water if you don't have your MOB. That was the complete install of the Garmin Force Current on this XTR130. I could make a series of videos going over the features on this product, but I think my time would best serve me now if I head out, get on the water, and test this thing for real. Right now my motor says that it's in the stowed position. How it knows that, I have no idea. So let's go ahead and deploy the motor. Let's see, I'm assuming the MOB is on. System is ready, perfect. Now I'm gonna try this out first using the remote because I'll be quite honest with you, I don't trust myself quite yet with the foot pedals. So you can tell the direction of the prop without turning behind you because there is a circle on the screen. That's right, this has a small little LCD screen and it tells you which way your prop is oriented. So I'm gonna give the prop a little juice. That is so weird. The fact that there's not a motor in my immediate line of sight is crazy. This is unbelievable. This is wild. Oh my gosh, this is wild. To have my deck completely open, I've got all this space. Let's get this thing moving. There are 20 different prop speeds. Right now, I am on number 20. This thing is cooking pretty good. One thing that I really like so far, and if you're familiar with a bow-mounted trolling motor, you know, some of those trolling motors were designed to basically push around boats, full-size boats. And sometimes you get a very touchy-feely bow motor that almost causes you to, you know, lose your balance if you go one direction way too fast. If you've got the prop off and all of a sudden you turn it back on, you have no idea which way it's turned. And it really kind of throws you around. But I am feeling, you know, an overwhelming sense of security with this motor since it's in the stern. I'm making perfect adjustments. Everything is just buttery, buttery smooth. That was one of the coolest experiences that I've ever had on a kayak. I'm not gonna lie. Cannot explain it. The remote is super easy, we know that. Now, for the foot pedals. This is so interesting. Oh my gosh. The good thing about it is if you do kind of mess up, it's still very smooth. Like it's not kicking me around, especially not in this kayak. And if I feel like I'm kind of going too fast one way, I can always come back to the first position and I'm fine. I'm just having to figure out how this is backwards from what I'm used to. Minor adjustment. This is so cool. This is how I see this motor separating itself from everything else that's currently on the market. You're going from point A to point B, you're sitting down, you're not necessarily fishing. You've got a shallow spot that you're coming up to, maybe it's, you know, pre-spawn, fish are on bed, whatever. You're in 2 to 3 foot of water, you're coming up shallow, You're standing up, you're grabbing your remote, and you're coming up here and using the exact same motor that you just had. And now we're sight fishing. And you don't have that big bulky motor in the front, potentially scaring off fish. There's absolutely no noise at the front of the kayak. You have nothing in your way. You don't have a big, shaft up front anymore. And now we're fishing just like we would on a bass boat. This is the coolest shit ever. One really cool feature on this trolling motor, and anybody that's used a bow trolling motor, you have to turn it all the way around. You have to turn it 180 in order for it to go backwards. But this right here has instant reverse. So same way that you go all the way forward to go forward, all you have to do, take the weight of your heels on both pedals, and we're going backwards, baby. Backing that fish right up off a bank, dude. And we're back to center. And check it out, I've got my little MOB right here, so if it does get wet, shuts it off immediately. Well, that's it for the install of the Garmin Force Current on this XTR130 and initial thoughts. Been out here for probably 30 minutes, but I might stay just a little bit longer. A couple of key features that I immediately noticed. Number one, the ability to transfer from foot pedals to remote. So if you were to get on that standing deck up front, you want to sight cast a little bit, you can easily take this up front, use the remote. It was a totally different experience for me. It feels better, it feels different. The motor is behind you. The motor is super quiet, can't even hear it. Quieter than any other motor that I've used on the market. This is going directly from the marketing room to my garage. It's never coming back to Big Adventures. Maybe this will allow me to get on the water a little bit more, because this has kind of, excited me a little bit. We do a lot of video shoots where we're fishing and traveling a lot, so sometimes it's hard for me to go off on my own and just do personal trips. But I think with this motor, it's kind of letting a fire under me to go out and to fish by myself. I don't even need a rod. I'm probably gonna stay out here for another 2 hours. Maybe not, it's hot. I'm getting golden brown out here, that's for sure. This is preparing me for ICAST. ICAST is definitely the hottest time of the year, which this motor will be launching at ICAST. So if you want to learn more about the XTR130, check out bonafidefishing.com, or I'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to check out the new Garmin Force Current. Like I said, they will be dropping all of their social media content probably around ICAST. Appreciate y'all for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the water.